I got 5 out of the top 10.
Because I want to see
5 out of the top 10.
Because
he won't touch me, and neither will Joe
what y'all
Joyce.
saying?
Shawn Porter is saying that he'll whoop 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights right now, today. Is he tripping? But before we get into this next video, make sure that y'all hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a sub to the channel. Now, recently retired Shawn Porter, Showtime Shawn Porter. Last time we seen him in the ring was, with his daddy Ken Porter throwing in the towel and Shawn Porter beating on the mat because he was pissed off because he got dropped by Terrence Crawford. After that, we know that Shawn Porter announced that he was retiring and he was going to do his podcast and become an analyst on ESPN and other networks. That's what Shawn Porter's doing now. But Shawn Porter, he has a very successful podcast, dope podcast. I like his podcast. And recently, Shawn Porter said some very controversial things on his podcast. The conversation came up with the heavyweight fight that we just seen this past weekend with Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker. And then Shawn Porter, he got to feeling himself a little bit too much, if you ask me. Shawn Porter says, you know what? I can beat 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights right now. I'll beat them all. And so I'm listening like, what? He said he'll do what? Now, everybody always like to go back to, oh man, Shawn Porter beat Usyk in the amateurs. First of all, we talking about some shit that was 16 years ago. And Shawn Porter and Usyk, they didn't fight in the heavyweight division in the amateurs. They fought in the middleweight division in the amateurs because we know that Shawn Porter started his professional career at like 160 pounds. Then he ended up going to 154, I believe, and he made his home at 147. Shawn Porter is only like 5'6.5", 5'7". Right, so he's not tall. He pretty wide. He got a little running back frame because he was a running back in Pop Warner football and whatnot. But he decided to go with boxing. Now, Shawn Porter, like I said, he was feeling himself a little bit too much because he says that he will beat 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights today. Now, I'm going to play a little bit of these clips to let y'all hear what Shawn Porter had to say, and we going to cook on it.
I got 5 out of the top 10.
Because I want to see
5 out of the top 10.
Because I don't mind these things that Shawn can beat, especially Joseph Parker after that knockout loss yesterday. If he try to come back versus Shawn, Shawn nice and fast, what you think? Because Joseph do got a good ass jab, so and he out jabbed Ruiz.
He won't touch me, and neither will Joe
what y'all
Joyce.
saying? What y'all
I
saying?
ain't gonna lie, Shawn,
I
I ain't gonna lie, all due respect.
Nah, Joyce ain't knocking me
Nah,
out.
you ain't seen him spar.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you ain't seen him spar.
How about
So the sparring is better than the fight?
No.
Y'all hear it, right? He say that Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker wouldn't even touch him in the ring. He said they too slow for him. He'll whoop both of them. And then he said Pulev, and he went on to say, some other fighters in the top 10. Now, of course, he didn't say nothing about no Wilder and Tyson Fury. But this man is tripping. Man, you're tripping. You wasn't even the best in your own weight division, and you got the nerve to say that you can move up to heavyweight and you'll whoop 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights right now today? Yeah, Shawn Porter, he done took a little bit too many licks to the head. Now, let me say something, right? Shawn Porter never had no power in his own weight division. We haven't seen Shawn Porter stop anybody since like 2014 when he stopped Paulie Malignaggi. Now, Shawn Porter, let me tell y'all, he was a dog. He is a dog in the ring. But to sit up there and say that you'll beat 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights right now today, and you couldn't even bust the grape in your own division, Shawn, you got to cut it out, man. You got to cut it out, man. And I know Shawn is witty. He don't seem like he punch drunk. But with this shit, like I said, he was feeling himself way too much. Joe Joyce will make that man hair grow. Everybody talking about why Shawn Porter's braids still the same length that they was way back in 2015 when he first started growing them. Well, you get in the ring with Joe Joyce, he gonna make your motherfucking hair grow. He gonna give you a whole scalp treatment. You dig what I'm saying? Motherfucker Joe Joyce will give Shawn Porter a scalp treatment. And then you talking about Joseph Parker. Man, both them dudes will walk you down and stump you like a dog. Real talk. You can't compete with none of them heavyweights. You can't. Now, you might compete with some of them, you know what I'm saying, them fat man, barroom brawl, tough man heavyweights. Yeah, you'll whoop them. But you ain't beat none of the heavyweights in the top 10. None of them. And you talking about you'll whoop 5 out of the top 10. Shawn Porter done lost his goddamn mind for real, y'all. For sure, he done lost his mind. But, you know, I wish that Shawn Porter had that confidence and he took that confidence in the ring with Terrence Crawford, because he might have would have been able to beat Bud. But he didn't have that confidence in himself, and he already knew he was going to retire. And this is words out of his mouth before he even took the fight, after the fight. But yeah, so if we go in the top 10 heavyweights, you got guys like Anthony Joshua, right? You got guys like I said, he just named Joseph Parker in the Juggernaut Joe Joyce. You got other fighters like, I would say, the Big Bang, Zhang, he in the top 10 for sure. Philip Hergovich in the top 10 for sure. Who else in the top 10? Andrew Ruiz in the top 10. You got, let me see, Luis Ortiz. They talked about Luis Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? He did bring up Luis Ortiz. But anyway, like I said, man, Shawn Porter is tripping to even let some shit like that come out of his mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Retired, and then they asked him, like, would he even come out of retirement for an exhibition fight? And he said, look, I'm not coming out of retirement. So you can't sit up on your podium right now because you're in a safe place and say that you could whoop 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights. And a lot of people might hear this and say, oh man, he was just joking. Nah, he wasn't joking. He was dead serious. That man really think in his head that he could beat 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights because he's still holding on to the amateur days when he beat Usyk in the middleweight division. You know what I'm saying? He always liked to bring that shit up. His pops, Ken Porter, always liked to bring that shit up. Well, Usyk grew into a heavyweight. Usyk was a middleweight back then. They was kids, bruh. Just because you beat that man as a kid don't mean that you could go up to heavyweight and beat that man. And stop living off of that old ass Olympic shit. You know what I'm saying? When y'all was amateurs and stuff, man. But I heard this shit, man. I had to rewind it back and say, what the hell did Shawn Porter just say? Did this man just say that he could beat 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights? Yeah. I wish he would have tried to go up to heavyweight with his little ass and tried to get in the ring with them big ass dudes. Man, like I said, Joe Joyce make that man hair grow. You feel me? That motherfucker, hey, motherfucking, goddamn Andrew Ruiz and knocked the pacifier out that nigga mouth. But anyway, like I said, I fuck with Shawn Porter. He just get to feeling himself too much sometimes, and he be saying some outrageous shit. Let me know what y'all think about Shawn Porter saying that he could whoop 5 out of the top 10 heavyweights today. Jump in the comments, drop a comment, let me know what y'all think. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subbed, and y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again, and I'm gone.